It's not very often I get out these days. In a long time since I've done one of these sort of rambling videos. A few things I kind of want to get off my chest. As I come along the shores of Loch Ness with the one and only little Jack Russell Terrier. The last few months of unemployment really hit me hard financially, But last few days, got a letter through the door, and getting a tax rebate from last year, last financial year. Nearly £3 man. Woo! So, first thing I will be doing is getting my fucking haircut. And the second thing I will be doing, till I get back to work, properly, that is going out more with my dog. Because, for anybody that didn't know, most do know anyway, it's been my thing for a long time. Hiking and photography. I need to get my phone fixed as well. That's a long way away. This isn't even my phone that I'm using to record this, it's somebody else's. Just find a wee spot to speak about a few things in the world of Scotland. Rainbow Unicorn Land, indeed. My ankle tag as well comes off the Friday just coming up, so onwards and upwards, Where to begin, really? Again, I've actually spoken about this before, but you go on, go. There's a serious lack of people, I know there is, on Twitter, and I just don't really use Twitter that much. Well, never really have, but in terms of, and I hate the word, content creators, there's a serious lack of Scottish content creators, shall we say. People that cover issues in Scotland. And for the few that do, and I'm not going to say names here, but for the few that do, they either kind of fall into a few categories. So they're either disillusioned independent supporters, they're either unionists, or they're people that aren't actually from fucking Scotland, but just on occasion bring up something, depending on whether or not it's, clickbait worthy or whatever. That's your sort of three categories by and large. There's a lack of, I don't even really know what word to call it. Because I know in saying what I've just said there, it sort of indirectly labels people like myself as fucking fringe. But there's a lack of nationalist talking points, legitimate nationalist talking points. The issues of the day, so to speak. Whether that be stuff to do with immigration, whether that be to do with stuff in our schools, whether that be to do with Agenda 21/30, and I have to find my dog. Oh, there he is, fucking hell, he's camouflaged. It's just a lack of that, and it sort of does frustrate me a bit, because the few that do speak about the issues in Scotland, they speak about it as if politics is going to change things. We just vote out this guy and we drain the swamp. We need a Donald Trump in Scotland. What the fuck? It just pisses me off, because, like I said in the video that I made the other day about the critical race theory stuff in Scotland, okay? This has been going on for years now, and I have been trying to bring attention to it for years, and by and large, it's gone somewhat unnoticed. There's been points throughout the course of the past few years where it started to gain a bit of attention, etc. And it's just died by the wayside as quick as it came into the spotlight. Other issues, such as learning for sustainability, global citizenship education, the climate change shite in our schools, the fact that children are practically propagandised at this point, more so than they are educated, and it just goes relatively unspoken about. When I hear people speaking about independence, come here, Paul, come here. That annoys me in and of itself on a wee tiny side note. Independence, what do you mean by independence? Oh, support for independence is at an all-time high. Well, yeah, okay, what does that mean? Does that mean that two separate demographics that have been polled have said that they're in favour of independence because half of the people that were polled are in favour of the European Union, the other half might be in favour of independence? They never specify, so that shite can just bugger off. But these people will speak about these issues as if that's going to solve all of our problems, but yet they don't speak about the issues of immigration, they don't speak about the education stuff. The education stuff is probably the most pressing thing that pisses me off, concerns me, and quite frankly doesn't really show people in a great light. They don't speak about it. The question is, do they not speak about it because they don't know about it? I'm inclined to probably believe that's the case for most. But for others, it's just, it's an independence. We'll get independence first and then we'll solve all these problems. Oh, fuck off. And then, of course, it comes to the issue of immigration. I see ya. The issue of immigration. You've got these sort of rallies that take place from time to time. We're not racist, We just don't like illegal immigration. You don't have to be racist to be opposed to immigration in and of itself. And that's my big bugbear with it, so to speak. We spend far too much of our time, or I say we, not me, but other people spend far too much of their time talking about illegal immigration, and then those that do speak about immigration being too high in a UK context spend more time speaking about why they're not racist in order to then in turn speak about the issue of immigration and why it could be considered a concern, or indeed is a concern to them. It's nothing to do with racism. It's just the concept of growing a fucking backbone, to be honest, died a death a long time ago. You're far right, irrespective of whether or not you oppose immigration or not. You're far right for a myriad of different reasons at this point. If you don't agree with open borders and all the progressive politics and talking points, then you're immediately labelled as far right. So I really don't see why people should spend too much time wasting their energy on telling people they're not racist. It's like the old cliche, I'm not racist, I have a black friend. Fuck off. I don't need to justify myself. These people shouldn't need to justify themselves. I'm not racist, because as I said before, I would have just as much of a problem with an open door policy for EU migration as I would with people from any fucking Asian community and or African community out there. Alright? But our politicians, they continuously speak about a declining birth rate, an ageing population, and we need to have a tailored migration approach to suit Scotland's needs, despite the fact that in doing so they're indirectly conceding that we're dying out as an ethnic group, and on top of that they're actually advocating for the very thing that if you in turn bring up and you get brandished as conspiracy theorists, what I mean is far right, what's it called, replacement migration. Why are people not having enough children? Governments can't wave magic wands and change the course of history, right? Nobody is suggesting that. But I think it would be foolish to entertain the idea that if the cost of living for people wasn't as sky high as it was, and if family creation, marriage, and our less feministic bullshit in our schools, etc., if these things were commonplace like they once upon a time were, then maybe there wouldn't be such a lack of families. You know? The solution is always to just open the borders. And nobody talks about the negative ramifications and what that means for us long term. You know? I mean, this is a recipe for serious disaster, futuristic wise. You know? Not only is our ethnic group, and I'm not just talking about Scots here, I'm talking about UK wide, not only are we over time becoming more diluted as a population, right? Come on, come here. On top of that, we've got serious fucking anti-white policies or political talking points emerging, not just in parliamentary settings, but in policy settings as well as our education. And on top of that, we're hell-bent on opening our doors to people who, by the way, get old themselves. This crap at aging populations. I know you mean, but that's a story for another day. Right? But what's going to happen in the generations from now who are white, dare I say, when they're a minority, when this toxic fucking culture, this toxic societally expected language has become solidified, you know? But it's fine. We'll just talk about Donald Trump. We'll talk about globalists. We'll talk about chemtrails, man. Oh, fuck off. That's not to suggest that these things can't affect us, don't affect us, won't affect us, but there's more pressing issues as far as I'm concerned. Maybe that's my bias coming into the conversation. But it is what it is, I guess. I just think that people should not be afraid to speak openly about the long-term ramifications and consequences of open borders, migration, replacement migration. And I think we should be speaking more about things that could be done to try and slow down the trends at play. It should concern people. The NRS just recently, a few weeks ago, said yet again, birth rates all-time low, excess deaths high. We're not even what would be constituted as, you know, on an even playing field when it comes to replacing ourselves, you know, 2-to-1. Less and less people are having children, all the while our population continues to grow. And it doesn't matter if it's not growing as much as it is in other parts of the UK. It's growing all the same due to immigration. And our fucking politicians do nothing but speak about, well, this is why we need more immigration. So they use our problems, they use the issues of the day as a means to justify advocating for the very thing that's going to make the problem worse. The concern should be on the fact we're dying out slowly. It's not hyperbole. And this crap about what's going on in our schools, this educational crap, this Agenda 2030 nonsense. I don't know. Yeah, 6 months, 7 months from now, when I'm probably back on my feet, back to work, and I'm able to like go out properly again, you know, rid myself of the fucking horrible thoughts that cloud my fucking judgment from time to time due to being stuck in the house. I can't wait to feel a bit better about myself, but all that said, there's just so much wrong with the discourse in this country. There's so much wrong with the direction of travel for our country. Hey, it's sad, like I can make a video, record a video of like John Swinney talking in Parliament Reserve, or somebody, 800, 900 views sometimes. I post something about like learning for sustainability 30 days. I mean, I'm no stranger to like a lack of views or very sporadic view counts. You know, I've done this shit since I was about 17, 18. But, come on, it just goes to show where a lot of priorities lie. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for now. Can't wait to be able to take him. There's so many places I want to go that I've not been able to this year, really. I want to go out the West Way, Torridon. I did the NC 500 a couple of years ago. Well, I did the North East side, I went to the West side. A few locks that I want to go to. Just want to get back to my old self again, eh? Want to start taking photos again, you know? Used to love doing that, man. Done it for fucking years. You know, I've been to some beautiful fucking places, some hidden gems over the years, and I've got some fantastic photos over the years. And just been spending far too much time in my house. But with that, I've been able to, sadly, observe some of the fucking nonsense that gets said in a Scottish context. You know, I don't know, so many people I want to call out at. There's one particular dickhead who, he's a political figure. He spends more time nowadays if he's not like, well, we're not racist. Calling out other people, you know, I don't agree with their views. I'm not racist. Fuck off, mate. Nobody asked you. You're irrelevant. I remember a few years ago, the same individual covered some of the critical race theory stuff. And I was like, fucking hell, yes, this might gain some traction. And then he just butchered the explanations. He was like, oh, this is all a grift. These people are doing this for money. And I was like, mate, you've just done 3 videos. You didn't give me any credit either, by the way, the little dick. Didn't give me any credit for like all the information and whatnot that I provided, despite the fact I gave him a multitude of links in a response on one of my videos that he commented on at the time. But he was like, oh, it's all a grift. Just completely disregarded the fact it's anti-white. It's anti-white racism, etc. Disregarded it all, and then he's never made any videos on it since. A good one, mate. See how far you get in the next election. Anyway, rambled now for too long. Just supposed to be streaming with Scott's Armour soon. And if you're listening, mate, which I doubt you are, because this is almost 18 minutes long. The phone's a bit fucked at the moment, eh? So if you're trying to phone me, that'll be why you haven't got hold of me. When we get up and going again, whew, a lot of shit we can speak about, eh? Because there's a vacuum. Again, I wish more people would just speak openly about what's going on in this country. They don't. You know, I clipped, just before I go, a while ago an hour of a 2-hour stream that I appeared on with Urbaderber. And there was a point in it where he asked me the question. He said, so what was it that like got you and Scott's Armour and whatnot, you know, creating the Sunday with the Lads thing back in the day? And I said, the same thing I'll say now. There was a vacuum in this country. There still is today. It's fucking depressing, eh? Anyway, adios.